Hello, welcome to Martin's Metal Art. Been very, very busy. Anyway, we're going to talk about plants. Metal and plants go together very, very well. We're going to talk about green screens, and we're going to talk about a trellis, how to prop up plants. I love plants. Plants make me a lot of money. For those of you that dabble in cable rail, I've had this for about 5 years now. It's just a nice little, I don't know, it's called Crimper. It's a hydraulic crimping tool. Comes with different fixtures that you put in here. This bad boy has done a mile of cable rail easily by myself. I buy the ends off of Amazonian. They work out to be about $1 a piece. So for those of you that ever bought cable from a hardware store, pre-cut or ordered prefabricated cable at a certain length and this and that, it's an absolute nightmare. You got to be nut on perfect in order to make all that fit together for what you order. Build them yourself. I'm going to show you just a little project here that's got 8 cables on it, and I bet those 8 cables cost me about $20. And I bet if you get one preset piece of cable length for a trellis or a railing or whatever, it's going to cost easily more than that $20. So this is going to be 8 rails. I don't know, they're about 10 feet apart, and this is going to hold up a plant. So anyway, this is wisteria time. So anyway, we'll go on this journey. I'll tell you how I do cable rail. It's for plants, real simple. So one of the stars of our show is 1/8-inch cable right there. I got the spool. I just welded this little dowel right here, and this thing just spins just really nice and easy. So pretty simple right there. That's the cable. I think 500 feet of it costs something like, I don't know, $120 or something like that. It's not cheap, but that stuff, all stainless steel, it's not going to go bad. It's going to do a number of jobs for me. And it's paid for itself in the first 20 minutes of the first job. So hands down, this is all profit. This whole job you're going to see is profit. It's all leftover scrap from other jobs. And basically the only thing I got invested in it is my time. And you're going to see it's about a $1,200 piece, which is pretty good for about 5 hours worth of work. So I know all you guys are trying to figure out how much to get paid during, an hour welding. If you weld for somebody else and you're a good welder, you can make $50-$60 an hour. You work for yourself and you use a bunch of scrap pieces put together and you come up with a set price. This is a one-off. We're not mass producing this thing. So everything's got to be measured, cut, the installation the customer's going to take care of. But bottom line is that, I quoted her $1,200. She didn't blink. And 5 hours of work, $1,200 material that I have laying around the shop. That's good money. All right, let's take a look at this. This is 2x2 box tubing. So this is my frame. Just basic 2x2. I've already ran 7 of the 8 wires or cables. Basically, the process with this is you cut your pieces, and then the side, the middle, the 2 outsides in the middle there, I actually stack those, tack weld them together, and then drill through one into the other, and that way I know where the holes are going to line up. So these holes are 8 inches on center. Works out good. The one main thing with cable railing, and don't skimp on this, is I can't just go with a leg, and a middle leg to hold the cable up and then an outside leg. Because as soon as I tighten these cables, I'm going to pull this thing in something fierce. I need this kicker. It has to be boxed in right there. There is no way to do this without boxing that thing in. I mean, I've seen, cable with wood posts and you put the kit together and you slide the cable in. As soon as you start tightening the kit, you'll pull those posts over. I could pull this metal probably about, probably 10, 12 inches if I wanted to with that cable right there. So I have to have that kicker. There still might be a little bit of a bow in it on the outside, but this beauty of this is going to be covered in plants. If I was going to do this on a walkway railing, something fancy, I sure wouldn't use 095 2-inch box tubing. I mean, I would go way, way, way heavy, and you'll see a lot of cable rails like that. They're really rounded because it's really thick box tubing. So I've seen guys use 1/4 inch. I mean, they don't want that thing to move and bow. And that cable, if you tighten it up, it will pull that metal, something fierce. So anyway, this one I'm getting away with 095 wall, and we'll string a cable for you. I'll show you how I do it. All right, got my handy dandy little end here. Like I said, there's a variety of these. Like I said, there's a variety of these on the old Amazonian. You know, for different ends and different, you know, styles and this and that. Good company. They're out of American Canyon, California. Cable Rail Direct. Cable Rail Direct. They'll sell you all that stuff. However, like I say, this kit, everything I got here, I think this is about a $60 part right here. So I just put that in as far as it'll go. Thing is going to crimp down. I'm going to release it. I don't want to release it all the way, otherwise I got to pump too many times the next time. That is not coming off. I don't know if you can see that little. Let's see if I can get this thing to focus. Focus UAVE. So anyway, but that nice little crimp there, that is not coming out. I have never had one of these pull loose if I put a nice crimp on it. So 1/4 inch holes, 1/8 inch cable, and every now and then I just got to clean out some burrs on those, you know, when I drill it. It makes sense just to run through with your 1/4 inch drill, you know, when you're all said and done, get rid of any burrs, make the job go smoother. So anyway, let's stick that through like that, and then I'm going to run to the other side. See you guys in a second. So this whole job is about setting up a work area where you kind of got everything. It's a lot of repetition. You know, it's a great ball game, something, you know, podcast scenario. If you're a nut like me and listen to all these golf podcasts, it's a good job to, you know, have something you can crank out and just make a whole bunch of these. I mean, these are all the same length. I could have just set up a jig and pulled my same wire, but this is a nice work area. It's comfortable. So just simple little cable, you know, cable cutters. Make sure I'm focused on the right thing now. All right, so I'm holding this other end because that other side will tendency to bounce out, and then anyway, then I got to walk over there, shove it back in. But I keep a little tension on that, so I just test that. So I can see that you know, it's not quite, the cable's not quite as long as I want it to be. So I've got, you know, 1.5 inches of play here. So I'll back that out a little bit. Get down to where I know the cable and this stainless steel sleeve is. Crank on this a few times. Much easier to do this here than in the field. I've had to do this in the field. That's my right length. Shove that bad boy through. A little stainless steel washer on this side. Nut. Uh, 7/16 wrench and just cheap old pliers to hold on to that. I'm going to give that thing a couple turns. Play some music with that or not. That's not really tight. I'm not after, you know, try to tighten that thing up so it fierce. So I'll show you this other side here. All right, that's the side where the little nut is. When it's all said and done, I'm going to go back through here. I'm going to tighten that with this, use 2 wrenches on that thing. If I don't do that, then by the time I get to my job site, I'll be missing a few of those things. And like I say, they're you know, they're probably about $2 a piece, those sleeves. And that's the last thing I want to do is dig into, you know, have to get more. So anyway, I blended the ends on this thing to make, this is the top. This bottom part's right by the dirt. You can see I did not blend those ends down there. That's going to go in a little bit of concrete. Pretty simple. It's going to grow a vine. It's going to be covered with wisteria. It's going to rust. I'll spray a little muriatic acid on it to enhance that. So this is one way to hold up a plant. I'll show you another way here in a few minutes. All right, so I'm going to back this thing up and show you what we've been doing. This is another green screen. So you've seen the one for the wisteria. This one is for jasmine. And I'll back this thing off. Look at that fancy camera work. Still got my ladder there. Anyway, so this is at the entrance. I know it's not good with the sun, I apologize. I'm a welder first, not a camera guy. Anyway, this is at the entrance of Brekoller Winery. So they've got the tasting room set up. They got, you know, just the absolutely fantastic gardens and everything else around here. All that metal work is mine. Trash cans are mine, tables are mine, arches are mine over here, gates are mine. Anyway, this is the main entrance. So this was put in. They hired a very, very fancy architect to build the winery, which is going to be back over there where that old covered arena is. So the architect, of course, these guys are fairly high dollar. They like things their own way. He said that this building, nice shop building, maintenance for the maintenance crew has got to go because it doesn't fit with the opening of as you drive in, the aesthetics, the ambiance, the whatever else weird word you want to call it. So instead of tearing down about a $50,000 building, what we did was we came up with a solution to grow something up the side of it. So what I first showed you was the north facing side, and there's olive trees there, and you're basically not going to grow anything on that north side. It only gets sun for a couple months out of the year. It's really, really not worth it. We're going to let those olive trees decorate that area. So this side here, we're doing jasmine. So if you ever want to grow something up the side of a building that doesn't look horrible in about, 2 years, at first somebody suggested honeysuckle. Honeysuckle just becomes this big mass. Yeah, it smells good, but it becomes a big mass of it's got to be just cut back all the time and this and that. So anyway, this jasmine is going to grow right up the side. It's not going to try to work its way in, behind the buildings and everything else. So this is 2x2 box tubing with 4x4 concrete wire. And what we did is I kind of surprised the owner, and he didn't know this was going to happen, is I cut out a whole bunch of butterflies. And I've got the butterflies going around, and I'll show you where the main clientele sits and looks at this building. So on this south facing side, this is kind of the number one. You can see the people are over there sitting outside on a lovely April day. So this one here we kind of went crazy with. It's 2x2. It's anchored on the bottom down there with Titan screws. It's, the foundation extends out about 2 feet all the way around this building, so it's great. And then, like I say, I told the owner, I said, I got a surprise for you after it was all said and done. And we came back and we put in these butterflies. So I've done videos on how to cut out these butterflies. These are all hand cut by me. If you recognize that butterfly right there, you could see it. It's fairly famous, actually, that design. Somebody tell me where it's from. This one I do. I usually put a stake on the bottom of them and stick them in the ground. There's a bunch of butterflies that I've already put in all around this property. So anyway, we kind of went nuts and tried to make this thing really, really look cool. The firebox, you got to stay away from that. They're gonna have to, make sure they trim the vine back a little bit. But it all worked out really well. I didn't want to go any higher than that, just because I know it's an arch and it's an angle with a square, but the square is going to look fine. This thing's going to grow up, and this thing, I bet you, by about August, it's going to be absolutely stunning. And then the grounds guys are going to be all upset at me for having to trim away from the butterflies. But anyway, they stay on top of stuff pretty good. But anyway, that's kind of the view that the people over there get. We might do something on this side right here. But bottom line is, hopefully the architect will be happy when they do the design for the new winery, and we put about a $10,000 fix onto a, instead of tearing down a beautiful building and everything else. So anyway, fun project. So this is, we call this a green screen. I showed you these other examples. This is another really example. Concrete wire. Used to be about $120 a sheet. They come in 20 by 7 foot sheets. Now they're about $250 a sheet. It's still really, really cheap way to grow a vine. There's a couple $100 worth of box tubing and a couple $100 worth of wire. The butterflies, I threw the butterflies in just because I like to spruce up my work, and this guy gives me so much work that spending half a day cutting out a bunch of butterflies and sticking them on and, making something, taking something that's practical and functional and turning it into a piece of art with half a day's worth of scrap metal, cutting into butterflies. That's kind of my signature. I'm always going to surprise you if you hire me, and that's also why I charge a lot of money. And people have no problem paying it. Gave myself a raise the other day. Basically charged, I'm charging an hour for what it costs to fill up my gas tank, and it costs a lot of money to fill up my gas tank now. So anyway, my hourly rate just went up. I think today's hourly rate is $160.01 an hour. All right. Hey, enjoy this metal work. Comment if you got any other suggestions. We're always trying to learn here. I got my Austin Ross jacket on. Beautiful welding coat that he ships out. Love his channel. Support him. And have fun with these projects, people. And my main advice today is that if you're going to do something, and you want to spend just a little bit of time, throw a little piece of artwork on it. I mean, this would look cool anywhere, but that makes it art right there. That really brings it out. And you'd be amazed what the homeowners do, and the residential owners or the commercial owners do, when you just throw in just a little bit of flair on something like that. So they're fun to do, and it's going to mean a lot more jobs in the future. Half a day's worth of work for, a guaranteed, really, really, really nice check. Have fun with this. Green screens. See you next time. Martin's Metal Art.